Good afternoon, and welcome to the second episode of Tip of the Hat. I'm your host, Bourne Rios, and boy, do we have a very special episode ready for you today. We had a very snowy weekend this last week on campus, which bled into the first 2 days of the week, and we're about to have the first bit of information on the study abroad program for the spring 2026 semester at Brooklyn College. Last but not least, we have a very special appearance by an old friend of mine and a very active member of the Brooklyn College music community. So, without further ado, let's get into the newest edition of BC Recap. As mentioned, we had a very snowy weekend due to the last storm, and that bled into the first 2 days of the week, both Monday and Tuesday, and their associated events on campus. But that didn't stop Brooklyn College from having a very exciting lineup of things to do, because last Wednesday, the Community Health Associated Initiatives organization had a blood drive tabling at New Ingersoll, and the Computer Science Club held a bake sale near the Boylan Cafeteria entrance as well. So, for students who wanted to partake in the community and help a good cause, not only were they able to provide their blood, they were also able to supplement it with some nice sugary treats. Thursday was a really active day in the Brooklyn College community, as the CRU organization of Brooklyn College held a coffee and convos event at the Boylan Hall cafeteria. The J Fashion Club held a late Valentine's Day paint and snack on the second floor of the Student Center. The Black History Month Committee, in collaboration with the Immigrant Student Success Center, held the final Brooklyn College Black History Month event, an art making and discussion seminar held at the Immigrant Student Success Office at 117 Roosevelt Hall. The Computer Science Club, in collaboration with Academic IT, held a Students Talk AI seminar in the Brooklyn College Library last Thursday as well. Finally, the Philosophy Society held a special Philosophy of Love seminar in Boylan Hall 3304. So, there was nothing short of things to do this last week at Brooklyn College, but let's say you didn't get into any of these events because you were too busy studying. Well, luckily for you, we have also a very exciting lineup of events coming your way in our segment, Next Week's Specials. The blood drive continues on Monday, March 2nd by the Whitehead Breezeway during common hours. If you don't know what common hours are, that is an occasion on campus where students are typically out and about and are able to get involved in many different events held by the various clubs inside of our school. These hours range from 12 to 2 p.m., typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And for this special event, the blood drive has free snacks and donation tables for students to provide blood and help out the community by, donating blood. I guess there wasn't really much to go into with that one, but hey. And here's a special one. The Psychology Club is holding a study abroad info session this coming Tuesday, March 3rd, from 12:30 to 2 p.m. in the 4th floor of the Student Center. Study abroad is a program that everybody likes to hear a bit about, whether you're an active member of the community or you're just exploring different options on how to study and travel at the same time. Brooklyn College is one of the various colleges that have a very vast and expansive study abroad program, and now we finally get to talk about some of the events that they're holding to get students informed about how they can get involved in this very special occasion. In addition to the Study Abroad info session, the Black and Latino Male Initiative is holding a What We Wish We Knew Before Studying Abroad information session at 3309 James Hall. With these two events, you're able to learn absolutely everything you need to know about study abroad and get some live experiences by students of the program in these coming days from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. in 3309 James Hall. With that, we have a very special guest coming on the forefront today. He is an enrolled sophomore student at Brooklyn College. He is a multi-instrumentalist, but primarily utilizes the guitar. And he's a very special friend of mine who dates back to, high school? Senior year? Yep. Well, I guess there's no more point in stalling. Let's introduce today's special guest, Michael Vituli V. How you doing, Michael?
I'm good, thank you, Angel, for having me on your podcast. It's quite the pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you, Michael. So tell me, What's your major of study and your reason for choosing it?
Music performance. Since I was even able to walk, music has been a big part of my life. Um, as early as I can remember, I started studying and then eventually started playing instruments. So I guess you could say I've been playing. Music's been there with me for a while, which is why I chose to study it here at Brooklyn College.
Music's been with you for a while, and and when we met, here's some context for our listeners. That was a foundation on which we met each other originally. But I think that the audience deserves to know, what is your history with music? Well, I guess maybe not what's your history of music, because that could be a whole book, and I want to save that for a project that you could do on your own in the future. So why don't you give us a bit of a crash course on how you found music and why it led you to where you are today?
Well, it all started around when I was probably 2 years old, and I listened to a lot of great composers. Some of my favorites were Johann Sebastian Bach, um, Krebs, uh, Johann Pachelbel. I could go down the list forever. Mozart. Around when I was 10 years old, I started studying music. Like I started with scores, analyzing scores before I actually picked up an instrument itself. And then late when I was 11, I started playing the piano. Not a piano, like a grand piano, but a keyboard. And from there, my music sort of went on. I could talk all day about it. I really don't want to go too much into it, but yeah. Do you want me to, because you mentioned this, how we met? Or,
Sure, you
yeah.
could get into it.
So in James Madison High School, which is where me and Angel here both went to high school,
Whoop whoop!
yep, we were in jazz band. Angel, he played the saxophone, absolute legend. And I played guitar, absolute not legend. And yeah, one day he invited me to a little jam session that we played out in the open, and it sort of went from there. And yeah, he's been a good friend. So to those listening, you have a very good host on your hands.
Thank you. I really don't deserve that much credit, but I'm very glad that you were able to speak that positively. No, there was no weapon held to Michael's head. I would never do that, guys.
No, there's not.
But
Please help. I'm just kidding.
well, well, with somebody who's that active in the music community and also partaking in college classes, and I assume work too, on outside of school, you have a lot of
Right now, I'm still looking a bit, if I'm going to be honest. But
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But in the past, yes.
So keeping these completely candid here, it sounds like a lot. So how do you go about managing your time and, just making sure you get to everything that you need to while also maintaining a good quality of life?
Well, I always try. It's a bit less now because I'm really busy with non-major classes, and even those with music, it's mainly reading stuff. But I always try to get at least 3 to 4 hours of practice in, excluding piano.
A
Which,
day? 3 to 4 hours of practice a day or
a
a
day,
week?
yes,
A day.
Yeah, a week. There would be no universe where that would occur.
That's
Yeah.
absolute legend status right there, guys.
Um. So yeah, I mean I usually start with I so I do classical guitar and electric guitar, at least, which even before, but even more now because repertoire and pieces. I typically start with classical guitar first. I have particular study. Um, right now, like technique that I use. Uh, right now, thanks to my mentor here at Brooklyn College, Lars Franzen, really will study for counterpoint and some other exercises. And then I go onto the repertoire and I really, sit behind the score and dedicate myself to that. And for the electric guitar, I start, which, by the way, the practice portion, ironically, it doesn't take as long as you think. It takes probably 20, 30 minutes. And for the electric guitar, typically scales and similar technique, and then onto the repertoire itself.
So what does a practice routine typically look like for you outside the electric guitar 20 to 30 minute session? Like how do you allocate the different parts of that 3 to 4 hour slot into your different instruments? Let's talk warm-ups, actual scores and pieces, like basic drills that you run by, and probably just like jamming out.
Well, for classical guitar, for the 20 to 30 minutes, again, like I said, counterpoint. and that goes for about 20, 30 minutes. Then for playing behind the pieces, and usually to time myself, sometimes more, I'm very conceptualized on the concept of time, so I do, which maybe isn't the healthiest thing, but it's usually what I've used to get by. And for both instruments. I hope that answers your question. If not, I could elaborate.
Oh no, like that should be just fine. But like there are many music students at Brooklyn College, and everybody has a different approach to how they practice,
Yes.
how they perform it, how they get into the mindset of doing a performance
Yep.
and just feeling capable at it. And on top of that, everybody always seems to have a story or an inspiration behind why they're doing this kind of music and what the message they want to bring to the world is. So if you don't mind getting into it, would you like to tell me what your inspiration is for doing everything it is that you do with music?
Um, again, like I said, it started when I started actually reading scores when I was very young, but much later, I think a really point that really clicked. I was playing a guitar piece, and I was on the phone with my dad, and he's usually not. He's not very critical. He's very complimentive of things, and he sort of said like, "There's your calling." It seems like just like "There's your calling," a few sentences, and yeah, um, that's one. I remember my first gig that I played. The originally was an open jam. That was very exciting. I felt like king of the mountain, like on top of the mountain. Then um, gigs and at venues that occurred after. There are times where I didn't feel such on top of the mountain, not even close to the peak, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's always just felt when I'm behind my instrument or behind study, I feel like I'm at home. Like I really feel safe. Like it's my safe haven outside. Some people have video games, some people have books, some people have their mobile device or things like that. For me, it's more than anything my instrument. Yeah, instruments.
So outside of the realm of music, you have you ever considered exploring different pastimes or opportunities along the way, or even just now? Like,
That's interesting. You brought that up. When I was around this, it was very short lived. But I've always around with music. I always loved to read. I started reading at a very young age. Um, when I was around 13, 14, I wanted to become a writer, but I shortly realized that the passion is not as there as music, nor is the patience and time for actually writing. So I realize I like to, and I written some short story things, but I really more enjoy the reading aspect rather than writing it, and that's for words, but for composing music, that's a whole different story.
believe it or not, I've actually had a bit of a history with writing too, which
Yes, I forgot you mentioned that, Angel.
yeah, for those who don't have the context though, um, I used to I used to be involved with writing back in middle school by a lot. I wrote very romantical and nature-centered poems that just reflected my my current views on the world and me growing up and discovering new things about life that I haven't done before. So this is actually the first time learning about you just at all about the history your history with writing. And I just think it's really cool that a lot of artistic type people seem to have their own period of time where they were involved with that field to an extent. Um, but how does that translate into songwriting and song creation? Because I'm familiar with the songs that you make too.
I knew you were going to ask that question. It's sort of
Bullseye.
yeah. Um, well, it has definitely helped quite a bit. I don't know if you know the Doors, but Jim Morrison, great, may he rest in peace. Too soon. He was in actually in college for writing, for literature. Do not fact check me on that, but I am 90% sure.
I was actually going to ask if you can elaborate on who on the Doors and like
The Doors is a great rock and roll band from around the 60s to 70s. I don't want to go too off topic what you're saying, but his literature really flowed into his lyrics, and I feel like those who have a history in writing, that it's eventually going to happen in songwriting, I feel. So those books I've read, great books, the past, Lord of the Rings. I really love fantasy literature. Red Notice, that's not part of Lord of the Rings. That's Tom Clancy. I like Tom Clancy novels too. Um, it does go hand in hand with songwriting, the sort of literature they see from different sort of readings and things like that. Especially the vocabulary that really when I more enjoy writing, like composing, than I do actually writing lyrics. With that said, it is pretty fun to songwrite and write lyrics because you become very connected to the song you're writing, and I think the themes of fantasy, not to sound corny, but even the themes of like love and warfare are really great in songs that might speak out to the person listening. I hope I didn't go too long there. I apologize.
Oh no, you're good. So like you can hit me up by the way if you ever need any lyrics writing. I love that's what you said about the composition and the lyrics. It's sort of flipped from my perspective. I like to composition is great and all, but I definitely use it more as a means to communicate whatever I'm trying to say in my lyrics.
Absolutely.
Which is usually a whole story in itself. Very avant-garde. I don't know. I just really like creating things out of nothing.
I remember your poem about the octopus. That was very good. I don't know if you remember telling me that.
Oh man, what was that about? I forgot actually.
I forget a bit too, but it was about the modern climate and how the octopus sort of is trying to fray people away from that.
You know,
something to that effect.
I gotta really dig into the archives to get that one back. I forgot.
You read it on a little piece of paper. You said at the time, so it's gonna be pretty hard finding that.
And isn't that
but
also
all the best?
Isn't that also what's awesome about songwriting too? Not even songwriting, but just like standard writing, is see look like now we got into writing. Like I'm a lot more like like it's so cool. But yeah, sometimes I'll just be picking up like a piece of pen and paper and just like writing down like whatever goes on. It could be any kind of paper, like a post-it note, a notebook page, a whole loose leaf, a poster, just wherever you need to put your ideas down. It's just it seems like at least as somebody who likes to create, you always find a way to make it happen. Have there already been any obstacles like in your musical journey where you needed to go above and beyond to make something happen?
All the time. Sometimes I'll be composing a piece or working on a piece that I'll have you see my software and how I work with that sort of thing. And I'll think, darn, I really need to fit something here that's groundbreaking. So if I think it sounds too simple, I really want to switch it up to maybe just drive up a bit more, not stay in a loop of simplicity.
What was the greatest challenge compositionally, lyrically, anything regarding music that you've had to overcome, and how did you do it?
Ironically, when I first composed a piece of solo repertoire that I wrote for classical guitar, this is actually very recent. I wanted to incorporate a lot of counterpoint in it, and counterpoint in composition is
a whole bag of worms, by the way.
Is.
Like,
so that was
we're not even going to explain it.
That was a little challenging, but when I finally written it, and I even able to perform the piece, which hopefully wasn't bad luck, though it felt like that in that moment. It was really fun, and looking back on it, I wouldn't trade a second of writing that piece of music.
Do you have a favorite musical experience that you've had? It could okay, give me one for performance and one for creation. Like, do you have a favorite experience performing somebody else's
Can I
work?
start with creation? It's a little harder for performance.
You do whatever you want, my man.
Let me think. For writing, and you've heard this. You actually played saxophone for this piece. There was this song I written called "Goodbye, Darling,"
Oh,
and the chord, the progression's not difficult, but there's something about the context of the C major 9 that ends of the piece that really, like me personally, I felt something, so I could only imagine how the listener might have felt.
would you be able to demonstrate it?
The C major 9, it's just one chord. Okay.
C major 9. So we're about to put some music theory on to our listeners today. What? So, in case we didn't mention it before, we're both music students in the Conservatory of Music at Brooklyn College. So this is us just kind of being geeks right now. Michael,
Okay.
take it away.
So, in the end of the song, it's just this,
It's nice.
and that's it.
It's dope though. Um,
It is dope, as you may say.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, and as for performance, your favorite musical experience?
Um, I have a lot, but a favorite one. Around 2 years ago, I was playing at this jazz venue with my band.
Mhm.
No, actually, this was a jam. This was outside of the realm of my band, and there was something about the environment because there's particularly older people. It just felt, not to be corny and say I work, I guess, communicate well with older people, sort of.
Oh, I
But
feel that.
it felt really nice playing for these like jazz with these older cats, as you would say in the jazz world, and I got to play with some really great players, and it just felt really nice. I had a very noticeable smile on my face that day. So, um, yeah, that's all I can say about that.
It's so great that there's something in the world that you found that makes you feel like that kind of way. Like it brings like
Yeah, it's euphoric in a sense.
yeah, euphoric, and it just brings like an irremovable smile from your face. Like you smile so well that like even if you want to frown about something, you just can't because like it just overtakes any other emotion that you feel.
Yeah, and I'm not an unhappy person. I like to love life, but facially, physically, if I was smiling, you'd probably see a half smile. So for it to be a full smile, it would have to be quite the, you know, like right now, I'm sort of smiling, but it's like I had a half smile stage, if that makes sense.
Damn, man.
Well, not. I'm just saying that's just how like facial features.
Oh no, I'm only
Yeah.
joking. But like there I'm sure that in Brooklyn College or in the educational scene in general,
Yes.
growing up at the same time too, while also perfecting your craft. But let's stick to the college thing. There are definitely obstacles that college itself brings that you need to like pull yourself out of at
Yes,
times.
the good and the bad and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the queen. So it's a band. It's a super group that I like. It stars the same person who co-created Gorillaz, Damon Albarn.
I'll have to look into that.
Heck
I
yeah,
know
man.
you're a big gorillas guy.
Yeah. At like oh man yeah. So no I'm gonna plug it right now. So The Mountain by Gorillaz, their ninth studio album. I never count one of them. It's The Fall. I don't count that one. Just came out this last Friday, and whoever is listening to this show, you must listen to that album. It's Indian inspired. Stars many different musicians, both alive and posthumous, and it is just an incredible experience that I believe everybody should bear witness to. All right, advertisement over. They don't even pay me to say this. I just want to advocate something.
I
But
feel
like,
you.
yeah. So, okay, back to my question though. College life can be hard. How do you get around that?
Well,
Not music, college
Yeah,
specifically.
you could either make excuses or just do the work. For those who do make excuses, I totally understand. I absolutely I understand. But for me and how it's worked for me always is just manage my time to specific hours of the day to do the work. I'm going to be brutally honest. There have been times where I've overstayed my visit as far as uh, staying up past when I should have gone to sleep. That's
Mm.
happened many times, like last night.
You overstayed your visit in the conscious world. I get
Yes.
it.
Um, but you do really do what needs to be done when you want to maintain a good GPA, and that could be all the more rewarding. I know it might seem like, oh, big deal, my GPA standing at this level, but you should really give yourself some gratitude. Um,
And some sleep.
yes, and some sleep, but
Sleep is
be
good,
proud of
guys.
it. Wave that GPA in the air. Have it like a nation flag.
Yeah.
The
You-
nation flag of the GPA.
The nation flag of the GPA. What colors would that flag have?
Probably black and white, considering that's what you'd see on the 21st grading.
Okay. Well, we'll collab on the flag design.
Yes.
Definitely.
It'll be a mighty flag.
Imagine just a black and white flag with a couple numbers on it. Like, what the heck is this?
That'll be funny.
Well, we definitely got into a lot of topics for this little interview that we had, and I also wanted to emphasize that, well, because of our recent snowstorms and like inclement weather, we didn't go too much into the events at Brooklyn College. It was a very brief BC recap and next week's special segment. So I just wanted to remind the audience that for music events and non-music events, you should definitely check out Bulldog Connection's website over at Brooklyn College and download the Campus Groups app on any mobile device to get a look at what Brooklyn College has to offer, like next week, next month, next year. Why not? They probably don't go that far. It's mostly just a semester, but definitely it's a great way to get involved, and we're going to go more into what events are coming up next when there are more events to come up because, kind of the groundhog kind of screwed us over with the whole weather situation.
Great Bill Murray movie.
Oh, man. See, there's a lot of inside jokes going on over here, I will admit, but if you want to get in touch with Michael and learn some of those inside jokes for yourself, where can people find you? Both socially, professionally, or either or? Your choice.
Well, I am a pretty busy individual, but probably, and as corny as it sounds, because I don't like to use social media very often, Instagram or YouTube.
Oh, we got you. So you can follow Michael at Fellow McDude,
Actually, I changed it to be professional for this podcast.
No way.
It's now Michael _V._V.
Oh, don't worry. We'll definitely plug your socials over. Plot twist, guys. I had no idea. Bad interviewer, I guess.
Comes the time at my old age of 20 to be more professional.
You're so ancient, bro.
Yeah, I am ancient.
Well, I think that we got a lot of things covered today, and I'm super happy to once again I'm super happy to host another episode of Tip of the Hat and have my guest be somebody who really deserves a spotlight to take advantage of and truly showcase just what an amazing musician, student, and overall person he is.
You're too kind, Angel. Thank you very much.
I was about to remind you, I'm talking about you, by the way, Michael. And you know what? Everybody else who's watching, you all are special and you're great. And you know what? Let me give you a quote that helped me in my personal journey, which is, trust your initiative. It's usually the right call. That's it. That's the whole quote. So with that, I tip my hat off to you on this very special episode. Thank you to WBCR and once again, Michael, for joining me today. And to everybody who is watching and everybody who helped make this show and this vision possible. And because we got a musician in the room, Michael, would you like to play us off with just anything that you'd like?
Sure, why not?
Grab that guitar, man.
This is hopefully it sounds up to par. Still trying to condition it.
Stage is all yours.
Bach's for his 999th works. I need to work on that some more. A lot of notes were missing from there.
Hey, listen,
I guess it was the heat of the moment.
it's all part of the journey, right?
Yes.
No performance. No, actually, no. You coming on and you bringing that guitar and doing your thing. Nah, that's the performance right there. You know, but you can also follow Michael's music on his socials as well. We actually done a few projects together.
And you're selling yourself short. You're a great saxophonist, Angel.
Thank you, but it's Bourne Rios and
My apologies.
Bourne Rios. That's my music tag, and Michael, give them your music tag again. Drill it in their ear.
Just my name with the last initial, Michael V. dot and then a V. Yeah, that's it.
And with that, I'll leave you off with this. Oh wait, yeah, we already read the quote. Look at us, we're so ahead of schedule. All right, tip my hat off to you. Trust your initiative. It's usually the right call. You know the thing. We'll see you next week, and thank you so much for everybody joining us. Thank you.